For these people, the world is the sun. It is the vast, open ball of the sky and the endless sea of grass that mirrors it. They are Homo erectus, the upright people, and their bodies are built for this world. Long legs, narrow hips, a striding gait that can devour the horizon. They are the masters of heat and distance, creatures of the savannah. Their primary survival skill, a legacy of 1,000,000 years of hominid history, is a brutal, elegant calculus of exhaustion known as persistent hunting. They do not outrun their prey. They outmaster it. They follow, a relentless, loping metronome of endurance under the hammer of the sun, until the great antelope or the wild horse, its body insulated in fur, collapses from heat and exhaustion. Kale is a master of this art. He runs, his bare feet knowing the texture of the earth, his eyes fixed on a distant, dust-colored shape. The sun beats on his dark, hairless shoulders, but his body is a perfect machine for shedding heat. Sweat is his advantage. For hours, he has been a patient shadow, a promise of death that the fleeing beast cannot shake. This is the world as it should be. Open, unending, durable. But the world is changing. Ahead, the familiar golden plain ends abruptly. A wall of green and shadow rises. A line of dense, tangled trees that is closer than it was last season, closer than it was in his father's time. The forest, to them, it is not a place of bounty. It is a barrier. A dark, vertical world where the sun does not reach and the eye cannot travel. It is the edge of their map. The exhausted antelope, its sides heaving, sees the shadow of the tree line as a reprieve. It tumbles into the gloom, vanishing from sight. Kale halts at the edge, his own lungs burning, his body sick with sweat and dust. He stares into the suffocating green. Here, his greatest weapon is endurance. His sight is useless. The air is cool and still. The ground is a soft, silent carpet of leaf litter that holds no tracks. The hunt is over. The forest has swallowed it. He turns back, and the scale of the change is laid bare. The great sea of grass is becoming a collection of ponds, islands of familiar ground in a growing ocean of shadow. This is habitat fragmentation on a geological scale. A slow, silent conquest that no spear can stop. The climate is shifting. The rains are different, and the world is being remade around them. He returns to the clan with the other hunters, their shoulders slumped, their hands empty. They are a community built on the certainty of the horizon, and their certainty is gone. The clan's elders look to the tree line, their faces etched with a deep, ancestral fear. They are people of the sun, and the world is growing dark. The hunger in the camp is a quiet, constant ache, but it is the other hunger, the one for the world they are losing, that is truly starving them. The whispers of the children are quieter. The rhythm of the toolmakers, the steady, percussive beat of stone on stone that has defined their lives, is faltering. This is more than a failed hunt. It is a failure of their entire way of being, a chilling emotional turning point in their long journey. They are people perfectly adapted to a world that is vanishing beneath their feet. They are the ghosts of a dying world, and they do not know how to be born into the new one. The days that follow are a slow, grinding attrition. The hunters, led by Kale, try to force their old world onto the new one. They make forays into the forest. Loud, clumsy processions that snap twigs and send birds screeching into the canopy. The forest, in turn, swallows their efforts. The deer and boar that live here are creatures of shadow and silence. They melt away long before the hunters are near. The men return with nothing but scratches from thorns and a deeper, more profound frustration. Their bodies, perfected for the open plain, feel cumbersome and loud in these suffocating green corridors. Their pride is eroding, leaving a raw air in its place. While the hunters fight the forest, a liar watches it. She is not a hunter. Her domain has always been the smaller world of plants, roots, and insects. Her eyes are not trained for the horizon, but for the subtle signs at her feet. For her, the forest is not a wall. It is a tapestry, woven with a million threads of life and death. Her deep, intuitive understanding of the local foraging ecology gives her a different language with which to read this new world. She sees not a chaotic tangle, but a place of corridors and clearings, of game trails leading from water to browse. She ventures a little deeper into the woods each day, moving with a gatherer's patience. She learns the acoustics of the place, how a snapping twig can sound like a thunderclap, how the soft fall of leaves can mask the footfall of a predator. One afternoon, she finds the proof that her thinking is on the right path. It is the half-eaten carcass of a young boar, dragged high into the branches of a great ironwood tree. A leopard's kill. There are no signs of a long chase. There is only a single set of tracks near the base of the tree, a place of perfect cover overlooking a small stream. The leopard did not run its prey to exhaustion. It waited. It let the world come to it. The realization is a spark in the darkness of her clan's despair. It is the logic of ambush predation. The forest does not reward endurance. It rewards silence, patience, and a deep knowledge of place. The forest itself is the weapon. Her mind begins to work, applying this new, terrifying grammar to the problem of their own hunger. This is a moment of pure intelligence, a flicker of what will one day be called behavioral modernity. She sees a place where a game trail narrows between two great, moss-covered boulders. She imagines her clan, not running, but waiting, silent as the stones themselves. Their spears not for throwing, but for thrusting at a target that is mere feet away. To witness a new idea being born is to stand at the source of a river that will one day carve canyons. And so we invite you, chronicler, to watch with us, and to remember. That evening, she makes her stand. She approaches Kale and the other hunters as they sit, sullen and defeated, around a dwindling fire. She has no words for her complex strategy, no language for this radical rethinking of their existence. She has only her body in the dirt. She kneels and draws the narrow ravine in the ash. She mimes the boar coming to drink. Then, she mimes the hunters, not as runners, but as rocks, silent, still, waiting. She shows them the kill, not as a marathon, but as a sudden, brutal explosion of violence in an otherwise silent world. Kale watches, his face a storm of confusion and anger. Her pantomime is a director's alt on his identity. He is a runner, a pursuer. His worth, his entire being, is measured in the miles he can cover, in his ability to impose his will on the open landscape. What she suggests is hiding. It is waiting. To him, it is the strategy of a coward. He stuns and kicks the ash, destroying her map. He makes a gesture of disgust and turns his back on her. The other hunters follow his lead. They scorn a heavy blanket. The new idea, the only one that offers a future, has been rejected. The clan chooses the dignity of their past over the terrifying uncertainty of a liar's silence. The hunger does not care about pride. It is a patient acid, dissolving tradition, eroding the certainties of the past. The cries of the children at night are a more powerful argument than any map drawn in the ash. After 3 more days of fruitless, exhausting runs on the shrinking plains, Kale's authority begins to fray. The other hunters look at him, their eyes asking a question he can no longer answer. The old way is dead. The forest has killed it. It is a liar who finds them. She does not gloat. She does not repeat her argument. She simply leaves her offering at Kale's feet, a cluster of sweet, ripe berries she found deep in the woods. It is a gesture of peace, but also a quiet, undeniable statement. She understands this new world in a way he does not. This act of altruism is also a profound challenge. Kale looks at the berries, a small, perfect treasure from the heart of the world he fears, and then at the faces of his hungry kin. The hard choice is no longer his alone. It is the clan's. To follow him is to starve with honor. To follow her is to embrace a terrifying new way of being. He picks up a single berry and eats it. It is a silent concession, a surrender. That afternoon, he follows her into the woods, the other hunters trailing behind like uncertain shadows. She leads them not on a hunt, but on a lesson in silence. She teaches them to walk heel to toe, to use the sounds of the wind and the rustle of leaves to mask their own, to read the subtle language of bent twigs and disturbed moss. She leads them to the ravine she had drawn in the ash. It is a perfect kill box, a place designed by the ecological shift itself. They do not hunt that day. They practice waiting. For proud pursuit hunters, it is a form of torture. To sit, motionless, for hours, every muscle screaming to run, is a battle against their own nature. But a liar is a patient teacher. She shows them how the shadows move, how the wind carries scent, how the forest is a living thing that will betray any who do not respect its laws. The next dawn, they are ready. They take their positions, becoming one with the rocks and the deep shadows. There are no words. There is only a shed. Tense, silent. Hours pass. The sun climbs, its light filtering down in dappled, shifting patterns, and then a sound, the soft crack of a hoof on stone. A family of giant deer, their coats the color of the leash litter, file slowly down the game trail towards the stream. Kayla's heart hammers against his ribs. His every instinct screams at him to burst from his hiding place, to begin the familiar, exhilarating rhythm of the chase. But he holds. He trusts the silence. He trusts Samaya. The lead stag steps into the narrowest part of the ravine, lowers its great head to drink. Alaya gives a single, sharp bird call. The signal. From both sides of the ravine, the hunters explode from their hiding places. There is no chase. There is only a sudden, shocking eruption of violence. Kale is a blur of motion, his heavy spear driving deep into the stag's flank before the animal can even register the threat. The other hunters are on the doors. A brutal, efficient, and shockingly swift slaughter. The entire event, from the signal to the last death bellow, lasts less than a dozen heartbeats. They have done it. The forest has given them its first offering, but the victory is a somber one. One of the younger hunters, too slow to retreat, is gored by the dying stag's antlers. He lies on the ground, his life bleeding out onto the moss. The clan gathers around him, their faces a mixture of triumph and grief. They have food, they have a future, but the cost is laid bare. The close, brutal reality of this new hunt means that the hunters are now as vulnerable as the prey. They have survived, but they are not the same people. The sunlit runners are gone, and in their place are the patient, silent, and forever scarred shadows of the forest. The hunter's body was not left to the scavengers. They carried him back, and in a shallow grave, they laid him to rest with his spear, a piece of ochre placed in his hand. This quiet act, a flicker of what future paleontology might call symbolic behavior, was their acknowledgement of the price they had paid. The reinvention of a people is never a clean or glorious affair. It is a brutal process of trial and error, paid for in blood. The story of human evolution is not one of steady, triumphant progress. It is a story of countless clans, like this one, who found themselves standing at the edge of a world they no longer understood. Most of them vanished, their ways of life a dead end. But a few, through the intelligence of an outcast, the humility of a leader, and the grim courage to change, survived. They learned that adaptation is not just about the body, but about the mind. It is about the willingness to unlearn a lifetime of truths and to embrace a new and terrifying reality. Every time we face a world that is changing faster than we are living out the legacy of that first, terrible lesson in the dark of the forest. This has been the Chronicler. The post is not a map, but a series of crossroads where the lost found their way. But what if the thing that is lost is not a world, but the way home?